everybody.
Hello.
It's Chrysantilus with a very special guest, ℂ𝕙𝕒𝕢𝕫𝕢𝕫.
Hello.
And today we are going to talk about some magical lived experiences that she's had specifically around van life and homesteading. Would you say that there's a van life to homesteading pipeline?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because they're almost on the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Really?
It feels like it.
Yeah.
You're floating and then you are landed.
Grounded.
Very.
For those who maybe are not familiar with your timeline, could you tell us when you started van life, when you switched over to homesteading, and where you're at right now?
Totally. Graduated college 2014. New York. Left New York in 2017 for a full year of van living. Wasn't exactly a full 12 months, actually. Maybe 10 and a half, 11 months of van living.
With a partner?
With a partner the entire time with my man Matt. Shout out to you. And our hairless cat Rumi. All of that journey is actually on our YouTube channel, ℂ𝕙𝕒𝕢𝕫𝕢𝕫. There's a whole entire playlist called
Go check it out. And that playlist is in the description. Look at that.
There it is. You can see it all. And it is not your average van life you see on YouTube. We had a rusty old van, no air condition, hairless cat. We had no
Roughing
money.
It a little bit.
Yeah, like it's just you can feel inspired if you want to do van life and you have no money, because that was our van life journey.
Which I actually appreciate way more because I feel like people who like quit their big like 9 to 5 and go do van life and they're able to put like $100K into the van and then they want to present it on YouTube with like the cute thumbnails of like effortlessness. That's not effortlessness.
No. Gorgeous build out vans, these Mercedes like Sprinters, and they're making so much money off or they have a huge savings.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's
For
very
me,
different.
my van life has always been the folks who are building it from the ground up.
We did.
Yeah.
And she's janky, but she was cute.
Yeah.
The whole build out process is also in that playlist. Yeah. You can just see we scrounged it together. And I think that's why it became so popular, because people wanted to see two people of color making it work day by day, because we wanted to do it.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what brought me to your channel.
Yeah. We were out there.
Yeah. And you switched to homesteading in 2019?
Yes. So bought this current house we're in 2018, like as soon as we got back, about 5 months after we got back. So yeah, 2019 is really when homesteading started.
For me, it can be really easy to romanticize the homesteading life, especially because I play Sims Cottage Living. I tell ℂ𝕙𝕒𝕢𝕫 all about my homestead. I got chickens and I take care of a llama. All right. And I know the struggle. I know how hard it is to get up at the crack of dawn.
Not the crack of dawn.
And have to take care of my chickens.
But is the
llamas
still alive even if you don't log into the game for 3 weeks?
It's paused.
Nice.
It's paused.
Realistic.
So when I come back, it picks up where I left off, sort of a thing. But that llama does require a lot of cleaning. It is a diva.
I wish I could pause this homestead for traveling.
This homestead that we are on right now is an 8-acre homestead in the state of Georgia.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Beautiful land, beautiful energy. It feels good to be here. I was telling Matt this, when I got in from the airport and I like walked into your house and it was like the sage was going, the YouTube music was playing. I almost fainted. Like I felt it, so I almost passed out. Like I can't articulate to y'all how good it feels to be here. And that's all very intentional, all masterfully curated by you.
I'm glad.
Yeah, absolutely.
I work hard.
You do.
It's all about the ambiance.
And so if you are new to the channel, welcome. Chrysantilus is a realm dedicated to sacred earth medicines and psychedelics. And we're all about demystifying and destigmatizing the trip. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Chrysantilus, and you can also DM me on Patreon.
This channel was made possible by contributions from Patreon patrons and subscribers like you. Thank you.
I am joined by my fave, a YouTuber who I am so honored to be shooting with today for a multi-video collab.
Yes.
We're shooting like 8, 10 plus videos this week. Yeah, a lot of videos that you guys will get to see. And ℂ𝕙𝕫𝕢𝕫, your YouTube channel is ℂ𝕙𝕢𝕫𝕢.
Correct.
Can you tell the beautiful people a bit about what you do?
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here and share my vibe. You can learn about wellness, herbs, family life. There's a lot of vlogging on my channel. There is van life. There is spiritual information, education, and a grounded understanding of this path that we walk on earth. A lot of storytelling from my point of view. As a woman of color, 3 decades in, I'm a mother, so there's mothering happening, currently pregnant with baby number 2. So if you want to follow along on baby number 2's journey or learn more about baby number 1's journey, you can find me on YouTube at ℂ𝕙𝕢𝕫𝕢𝕫, also on Instagram as the same name, and my website is ℂ𝕙𝕢𝕫𝕢𝕫.com, where I sell medicines that I make with my hands with my partner for reproductive health, cleansing, and overall vitality.
Yeah, so please go subscribe. All the links are in the description. And I actually have been working with one of your flower tinctures recently.
Which one?
Is it mullein flower?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the mullein flower tincture.
Intuition.
Yeah, really delicious. And I know it says to take like a few drops, but I be taking the whole drop there. I really do. And I'm like, let me taste this flower. Let me feel it. Let me get it into my system. I know. I take way more than the directed dose.
It's a good tasting one. It was made with cherry brandy from like 30 minutes from here. Local Georgia cherry brandy.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, which is hard to get for most of my medicines, but that's funny. You're high dosing a flower essence.
I am. And it shows.
It really does.
Let's start off by talking about the transition. I have absolutely no idea how you could go from being so mobile, so fluid, so all this kind of stuff to, like you said, the opposite. Mm-hmm. So in 2019, you transitioned from van life to homesteading life. Mm-hmm. You went down the pipeline.
Yes.
What was that transition giving in the body?
Mm-hmm. There was a craving for a home base. Mm-hmm. Your home base in van life is your body and the earth, mm-hmm. which is a beautiful experience because you really do come home to your body. You come home to whoever you're van lifing with, your partner, your animals. You come home to the van, kind of, and to Mother Earth because you're traveling so much. The only constant is the earth. And there comes a point, and I bet every van lifer's career and life, where it's sort of the grass is greener on the other side type of thing. You know, I think people who are homesteading crave the van life. Like even now I'm like, oh, I miss van life.
Yeah.
And then when you're van lifing, you're missing a homestead mm-hmm. to really just wake up in a stationary room and go take a hot shower in a stationary place that is just yours mm-hmm. with your beauty products that you don't have to carry in a little pouch everywhere. And and then go outside on your porch and hear the rooster crow, mm-hmm. you know? Mm-hmm. So it was a craving for a home base, essentially, and very simply put.
Yeah. And I remember you saying the other day that van life isn't over for you.
No.
It's just tabled, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're making these babies, but after this baby number 2, I'm ready. As soon as we just generate, I mean, it's not really about money for us, as you see the first van life thing, like we can do it.
Yeah.
It's about just, you know, you got to set yourself up a little bit, especially when you have babies.
Yeah.
So, and especially having a business, being a small business owner, do we have the employees to make sure the business is going to keep rolling? Do we have the people to take care of the homestead? Because I'll get into that later. You're really rooted when you've got lives to take care of mm-hmm. outside of your own livestock to take care of. You can't just get up and go. which is hard for me because I've always been a very comfortable get up and goer.
Yeah.
My entire life. Yeah.
Me too.
Military kid. We traveled every 2 to 3 years. I loved new school. I loved to start over, new friends. Wow. I wasn't complaining.
Yeah.
Yep. Then went off to college and went off to performing life and then tours. And then, I just love to get up and go.
Yeah.
So I'm itching now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After taking a road trip last year from Baltimore to Los Angeles, I really got a hunger for it. And I was like, actually, that wasn't enough. I could do this for at least another year. Like, I could do this for a whole year straight. Like, I had so much fun. But I imagine, like you said, it's always the grass is greener on the other side, because right now I'm living very stationary. I'm living, I got my garden, I got my house, I got not the chickens, but my mom wanted chickens.
Get some.
We said no. We had to veto that. Yeah. So all that being said, I feel like it can be really easy for me to romanticize both homestead life, van life, especially because we see both of them on YouTube so much. Like, I'm sure that's one of the reasons, like, y'all click this video because you're like, ooh, another van life video, ooh, another homestead video, So I want to talk about the reality of the situation, because like you said, you didn't have some trust fund that was funneling money in that you were able to, create van life and never have to get a job. And like, low-key, that's how a lot of these van lifers are living. They come from a lot of generational wealth.
Yep.
Yeah. And so to me, presenting that on a platform like YouTube doesn't really do justice. It doesn't really do justice to the situation, you know, but you presented a very accurate representation about what van life might be like for the vast majority of us, Yeah. So I want to get into a bit of like the pros and cons of each, as well as expectations versus reality.
Totally. Yeah, I was inspired to do van life, to experience van life from YouTube. It was other YouTubers, and it was the shmoney YouTubers with the gorgeous vans and the gorgeous lives.
They make it look like an ideal reality, like a utopia.
Gorgeous, with the drone shot over Utah, just flying, driving down the wide road and no one else is there, and it's just gorgeous. And I would cry. I would have these big emotional experiences, just being like, we have to do this. We're in this little tiny apartment in New York City. Like, this is the opposite of this I'm looking at here on my laptop screen, like freedom, open, wide world, you know? And you will find some channels that show some grit, but then there's still grit with money. I honestly don't know of that many channels that's grit with financial.
That's what I'm saying.
Dancing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's like, oh, the tire went flat. Cool, let's go to the shop. Boom, boom, done, da-da-da.
Yeah, and some of them are already like monetized on YouTube, so they at least have like mad passive income.
Yes,
sort of
we were not monetized yet.
Yeah, but also so many of us, we have our Pinterest boards, we have our YouTube homepages, we have our For You pages that are just flooded right now with this other vision of what life could be. And for a lot of us, I know a lot of people watching my channel especially, that could look like alternative living, van life, and homesteading.
It takes a lot of privilege. I recognize how blessed I am to be so privileged to really have access some pocket of manifestation talent to get from where we were to where we are now. It took a lot of spiritual work. It took a lot of gratitude work to get to this, because I mean, as much as you want to say it takes this and that and this and that, it takes money for both. Yeah. For van life and especially for homesteading. Yeah. Building the coop, building the fence for this, doing that, food for the animals. It is money. Yeah. Just being realistic.
So I want to start off with the pros. So what are the pros of van life? What are the pros of homesteading? What were your favorite parts? We're going to do some like roses and thorns here.
Pros, of course, the freedom. For a much cheaper price than without a van, honestly, where you're in a car and you're doing hotels or, Airbnbs, VRBOs, whatever you're doing. And you are, going into these experiences, paying for tour guides or whatever it may be. It is an affordable way your house is on wheels, and that is what you're in to see, for us, the entire country. And that opened up so much of our beings, of our hearts, of our spirits. I had traveled a lot. My partner, Matt, had been born and raised in New York City his whole life.
Yeah.
And just like the way it cracked open his spirit to witness being in these places that we thought we would never go to and see. We're seeing dolphins in Key West. We're seeing alligators and eating oysters in New Orleans. We're in Utah, where it looks like Mars. Everything's just red rock. And on the coast, Santa Cruz of California, and just visiting cannabis farms and just doing everything, all the experiences. Yeah, it was a true highlight and gift and joy to be doing all of that. Another pro would be the spiritual experience of connecting with the earth. The earth is your home during van life. And because you're rarely in the van, for us at least, because our van was kind of jinky and just not comfortable to be in. It was like too small to stand up. Like, we're rarely in that. Yeah. We're eating on the earth. We're a lot of times sleeping on the earth. We're doing everything in the grass. We're constantly out communing with other people. We spend a lot of time with other like houseless people, actually houseless without vans, just talking and connecting constantly. That is a true highlight of the experience, just experiencing not having a home base, but being empowered by it. We would get people coming up to us thinking that we were like houseless and in need because we'd be in the same areas as other houseless people that are in need. Yeah. And they would like bring us food and like clothing. We'd be like, no, we're actually like good. Yeah. But how beautiful was it to actually commune with those people a lot? Yeah. And hear their stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because a lot of them felt empowered in their place as well. Yeah. Even without vans. Yeah. They were chilling, which wasn't my stereotypical understanding of people living on the streets or with the earth.
Yeah, that has been my experience as well in terms of getting to know the houseless community in Baltimore, that we attribute way less autonomy to them.
Totally.
Than they deserve.
Yep. Yeah. A lot of them were fine.
Yeah, fine and smart, intelligent, and with their own community, just like we have. Yeah.
Yep. My last pro for van life would be the level of no responsibilities, at least no possessive responsibilities aside from the van, your own body, and in our case, our cat, was, there's nothing to take care of. We had no children at the time. It was just our van, which was so awesome to have nothing to really worry about. At any moment, if a place wasn't, friendly to us, weather, anything, bounce, and we have everything on our four wheels and we're on to a new thing, which for me, who has always had a commitment issue, is great. Yeah. Peace. I'm on to the next one.
No, I totally feel that. Did you guys have a storage unit at the time, or what was in the van was in the van?
That was it. Our storage unit was my dad's house because we drove down to Georgia from New York, dumped everything in his garage.
Not to talk so much smack, but I've heard that a lot of van lifers who present their life on YouTube as van life actually either have homes that they don't show people or never talk about, or they have massive amounts of things in storage that they act like they don't have.
Sneaky.
I know. I would really love to watch some video essays on the dark side of van life, because I heard that it's a lot of people, it's almost like performance art, presenting their life in this way that they're not actually living the majority of the time. Really fascinating.
That is fascinating.
And it's fascinating to hear who people think those folks are, because it's not everybody.
Yeah.
Did we give the pros of homesteading yet?
The pros of homesteading: a very deep communion with the earth in a different way. Van life is that as well, but now you're working with the soil, you're working with Mother Earth's animals, you're working with herbs. You have the best of the best of, depending on how you're homesteading. In my opinion, the way I'm homesteading and the way I provide for my animals and let them live and, just commune with them, I have the best eggs. I have the best herbs because my hands are going into it. I know what this chicken has eaten since it was born, from the time that I either eat the chicken or I eat the eggs, which is these days very hard to find. We don't get that in the stores. And, you know, I'm just so privileged to be able to have that quality of nutrition and of medicine that comes from the plants. And just, we live surrounded by woods. So we're constantly in communion with the wildlife, the sounds, the effects of the wildlife on the homestead, the effects of us on the wildlife being just plopped here in the middle of what was their home, constantly coming in contact with them, you know, all sorts of animals and beings. It is a pro, mostly, I think, to be able to understand and have a relationship, a husbandry with the earth in the way that it is, and also just a home base, you know, especially in my current state of motherhood and that expanding my life, having a place where it's just mine. I can fully explore my human path of life in a safe place. Yeah. And I can always come here and know this is mine. As I expand my soul is really nice. A place to bring people, a place to do everything.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk a bit about the thorns, the thorny side of this rose. So this is something that I feel like I don't really ever see talked about on YouTube, because van life is just being so pushed as this like utopia, and homesteading is also pushed as like the ideal way to live and exist and all this kind of stuff. So I want to talk about what are some things that you can retrospectively identify as thorns. What's the spiky parts of let's start with van life.
With van life, I think it started with just realizing that we needed a lot more money than we thought because we romanticized it from YouTubers. The wood costs so much money to build it out and have a floor and walls and make it look pretty with the way that we saw it on YouTube, and make drawers and make some sort of bed platform. And we didn't even have any power tools. We need money for that. We didn't have any knowledge. We need to take time and learn that. We didn't know anything about how to read a map. Yeah, it was a reality punch in the head that it actually takes a little bit of survival skills to do the van living thing. It's really not, you know, obviously most of us are raised in stationary homes.
Yes.
So in the van, you have to understand a lot of things about what it is to just be without a home. One of them being navigation. We would be traveling in these places. A lot of these gorgeous places you see on Instagram, Pinterest, whatever, they are not mapped out for you to just put it in your Google Maps on your phone and get there. You have to pick up a giant
coordinates
map. Yep.
Some XY axis, some longitude, latitude.
# long and lad. And get your way to there, which was really empowering actually when we would figure it out. We were like, we got there. We are the ancestors.
Yeah.
But it was a learning curve for sure. Many times getting lost. And that's why van life also stretches your relationship, because there's a lot of pressures.
Would you call it a relationship accelerant?
I would.
I call Burning Man a relationship accelerant. Like, it accelerates the time of, like, you will live 5 years within the span of one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much time with each other.
Yeah.
Seeing it all.
Living on top of each other almost. Yeah.
Constantly. Yeah. Another thorn of van life would be the no home base that I've mentioned a few times. When things get hard, when you are having times of soul expansion that cause anxiety and a craving for groundedness, you have your body and you have the 4 wheels. You have the earth, but it may be an unfamiliar piece of earth that you've only been there for a day or two. So it takes a lot of work, and it is like a spiritual sport to learn how to ground yourself outside of your familiar place.
Yes.
And we crave that a lot. I mean, and also you're taking showers at Planet Fitness or truck stops, you know. It's the constant movement can get to you. Especially, I mean, thankfully our relationship was easeful the entire time. But I can't imagine people that are like really going through it with the person you're van lifing with, or the animal. Maybe that's Rumi was chilling.
Make a YouTube channel if that's your predicament that you're in.
I know. Let's
comment below.
I would watch.
Yeah, I would watch too.
And finally, a van life miniature thorn would be, again, that the earth is your home. The earth is not as controlled as a stationary home is. When it's storming, when it's raining, you come in your house and I mean, it's a nice cozy time. But in a van, especially ours that was leaking, within like our first couple of stops, we realized there was rust and leaking. I mean, we just went through it.
Not rust.
Rust and leaking.
A leak, but
on
rust.
the roof. We didn't even know. We didn't even think. I mean, so many rookie mistakes. We didn't even think to like assess the roof.
Yeah.
Until we're in southern Florida, rainforesty vibes, and it's pouring. And now there's our left corner of our bed is wet.
Yeah.
It's all there for you to watch too. We sugarcoated nothing.
And the link is in the description. Cue it up in the next tab.
We were suffering, but we were joyful through it all. Of course, we were happy to be free. But yeah, cold. I mean, the weather. We were in. I don't know why we went to Vegas in the summer, but we had no air condition. We're blazing.
Hot.
It
That's
was really
one
dumb.
of the hottest places you could go.
It was. We had navigated our route, and I don't know why. Rookies again. We had to learn the hard way. You are subjected to what Mother Nature is going to be giving you because you are living straight up with the earth or on the streets or on the grass, wherever you are. So that was hard a lot of times.
Yeah.
It wasn't glamorous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then let's get into a bit of the thorns that you have found with homesteading.
Yeah.
Since 2019.
It's funny. The pros are also the cons.
Okay.
With both of these, I think.
Double-edged sword.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because what is a beautiful groundedness that I talked about for pros of homesteading is also a con, especially for someone like me who feels really comfortable and excited by life, by the movement. I learn a lot about myself and my human journey by moving and meeting new people and traveling. And it's just not as easy. I wish it was like Sims and I could hit the pause button, go travel for a few months, come back.
The llama is frozen.
The dogs are alive. The cats are vibing.
Yeah.
The chickens are great. The garden is vibrant.
Yeah.
Everything's good, and it's not. So I am very blessed and privileged, again, to have family nearby. And so we lean on them for things like that to take care of stuff. But it's just not a get up and go, especially with money. You know, we're not rich. We are living comfortably, I'm grateful to say. And I still have to pay a mortgage. We have to pay insurance. We have to pay this. We have to pay that. And if you get up and go, all right, do you have the means to keep paying for that? You know, so we've set ourselves up to get to that, to where we can. But that is as we said, a lot of these people that are doing both, where they have a home base and they travel, they're pulling it in somehow, magically, that maybe isn't the norm. Online income, whatever. Yeah. Ancestral income. Yeah. Don't we all wish?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah.
So now that we've talked about the reality, I want to talk about the expectations. I'd also like to speak a bit about the goals. Was homesteading one of your main goals during your van life era? And when during van life did you say, okay, it's time to go down that pipeline. We need the homestead. We need to, nail this baby in.
Yeah. I've always been a YouTube lover, storytelling and watching people's lives.
Yeah, same here.
Even if it's really far from mine, people with like 10 kids or, just like really enjoying that realism of storytelling. So even when we were before van life, I watched a lot of homesteading channels as well.
Yeah.
I knew that van life was going to be the first thing. And then once van life started to feel a little crusty and we were getting tired of it, and we had seen a nice bit of the United States, and we started to run out of money. That was realistically what it is. Like we were so low on money that we were like, let's just go home. Yeah. AKA with my parents. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for allowing us to shack it up for a little bit.
And you were also looking at doing like a tiny home situation too.
Yeah. Cause once we finished van life, okay, now we're here staying with my mom, staying with my dad, back and forth, realizing we don't want to do this. Yeah. Obviously, I don't want to live with my parents. What can we do? What is an affordable way of getting close to our homestead? Yeah. We don't want to get an apartment and pay a bunch of money for what's not ours. So we were going to do tiny home until we found this beautiful cabin and took a chance. We only had enough money to pay the first rent, to pay the first mortgage,
Wow.
The rest was God. The rest was just belief and hope. I truly think when you jump off the cliff, there's going to be a door that opens. There's going to be a parachute down there somewhere. You might be falling through the fog for a long time, but somewhere down there is like the soft landing trampoline that someone's holding.
Yeah, totally.
That you're going to land on because you took the jump. Yeah. And it's not your ending yet.
You were like me, and many at home. We were watching the van life videos, you know. I think all of us have envisioned our lives doing van life, maybe with a partner or with our dog or something like that. What were a few of your expectations around van life?
Definitely envisioned it being a cuter build out. And then we realized, oh, wait, we need money for that. So it's just going to be very, very simple. Yeah. Definitely wanted to see a lot of places that we couldn't afford to see. The journey, like the gorgeous thing or the experiences you see van lifers have, a lot of them cost money. So we didn't have a lot of money to do some of the things, you know, I tell people, oh, I was there during van life in this certain place. And they're like, oh, did you do this, and this? And I'm like, no, girl, we just went to the free, the free trail. Yeah. Because all of these national parks are like $40 to get in. And so we missed out on some of the pillars of some locations. You didn't get that annual pass? No, there was a reason for that. And I can't remember what it was. Yeah. It was the timing of it or something. Yeah. You know, I don't know. As I say, we learned as we went. Yeah.
And then what were some of your expectations of homesteading while you were doing van life and even prior to van life?
The Pinterest board.
The Pinterest board.
The Pinterest board will get you into trouble when it comes to homesteading because those gorgeous pictures. I mean, there's so much money put into that beautiful natural built fence with all of that wood that costs so much money, especially in this time, the past like 3 years. Yeah. The labor it takes to have someone build it, and unless you're building it yourself, and then you have a lot of knowledge. Yeah. The animals are so much work. I thought I was going to have, by now, a couple cows, some goats.
And you got space for cows, too.
We have the space, but hello. The money to feed those large animals, the attention they need. And I get tired of my dogs trying to get in my lap every 5 seconds, let alone having to be out there and loving on all of those animals and having a relationship with them every day. Yeah. A lot of times it's cold. I'm trying to stay in the house all day.
Absolutely.
And that cow's like, girl, where you at?
Yeah.
You know, so the time required. The Pinterest boards make it look beautiful. The structures as well. This gorgeous type of coop, this gorgeous type of garden with this really unique, you know. Yeah. It just takes, like I said, money, dinero that we have slowly put into our homestead, but also the time. Yeah. Yeah. We all get the goldfish and then realize, oh, I have to feed it every day and clean the tank out.
What?
Yeah.
That's whack.
I thought it just looked pretty on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I want a ball python. Only have to feed those like once a month.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But then you have a big scary snake in your house.
A scary snake or a sacred snake?
They get a little spicy when it's time to eat.
That's why it's really important to learn how to read their body language. So I learned you don't when I have to face the spice.
Yeah. That friend snake, she was acting up when it was time to eat. I'm like, girl, chill. I'm trying to give it to you.
So we talked about homesteading being one of your past goals when it came to van lifing, and even before van lifing, you said, I have the vision of the homestead. We're manifesting this homestead. What are some of your current goals now with the homestead, and where do you see the homestead like down the line? Yeah.
I'm a dreamer and I like to take it really far. So it can keep on going, but currently I want to have some more structures, a large greenhouse, a dome for people to come and gather. So we're just manifesting the dinero and the help to build more structures. That's really what makes the Pinterest board so awesome, is all these beautiful like places that things exist in that make it look really beautiful. And I would love more animals. And the only way I'm going to realistically make that happen with the animals' vibrant lives in mind is more help. So I don't know what that's going to look like. Perhaps that's going to look like another person living on our land in a separate structure that loves it and wants to help with the animals while we move about and while we're in our other phase of life. I have to be realistic with, I'm not going to be out there every day, all day, loving on them. But do I want to experience what it's like to commune with them on my land? Yes. And responsibility wise, I like to have help with that. Yeah. So just some sort of awesome person we've always dreamed about will come into our lives that will be like, I'm here for it. I'm here for the gardening and the this and the that while I'm like raising human babies, and we can go out and be a part of it, but not be full time in it. Yeah. Absolutely. The full-time homesteaders y'all see, it's kind of like van life. Like, I don't know where they're getting their money. Yeah. But the ones that are really putting in the all day work, the money's coming from somewhere because they're not clocking into a 9 to 5. Yeah.
And they also have time to make content on top of.
Exactly.
Yeah, which I think is also, there's something to be said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It definitely takes a village. And for 8 acres of land, it takes a small town. Would you like to give your outro first?
Yeah, totally. Oh, thanks for listening to me blab on about my storytelling. Again, you can find it on YouTube. It's all playlisted out. You can look up like family vlogs, van life. You can see the drama if you want. You can learn about motherhood if you want.
The drama is there.
It's all there, very realistically, on ℂ𝕙𝕒𝕢𝕢𝕢 Organica. And check out my website. Come and get some herbs. A lot of them were grown here. Medicine made by our hands. Put a lot of love into it to help facilitate some healing within your body. Yeah.
And like I said, my recommendation would be the mullein flower essence tincture.
It's a good one. Yeah. Intuition, grounding. If you have big decisions to make, mullein is a good one.
Oh, and I do.
Oh,
and I do.
Girl boss tincture.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for joining this first of a kind video. I've never talked about alternative living on my channel before. I am Chrysantilus, and you can get with the realm on Instagram, TikTok, and DM me on Patreon. Please subscribe to this channel if you've enjoyed this video. This is the comment I want below. If you won the lottery next week, would you go straight to van life or would you invest in the homestead? Me, personally, I think I would be too seduced by van life not to just like hit the road with a girlfriend like GTFO, you know? So a few offerings I currently have is I have this dope, amazing Keep It Trippy merch on my Threadless shop. I additionally have 3 journals which I wrote, I designed, I created. The first one is a lucid journal of dreams. This is my dream journal. The second is going on a trip. This is my journeying journal. And the third one is the inner child check-in. Very self-explanatory. But yes, this has been wonderful. This has been an amazing and fun conversation.
Totally.
We sipped the tea. We threw a little shade. I really appreciate you being here so much. You're one of my faves. You and Matt both, I seriously look up to as creators. Aww. So having you come to the realm, it's a dream. Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure.
And yeah, bye everybody.
Peace.
Keep it trippy.